Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I would like to take this opportunity to send a special shout out of love to every fan of Descendants of Zombies who has been with me from the very beginning, because since the very beginning of the creation of this YouTube channel, which is something I've always believed that we created together, I've always wanted to offer you guys something special in the way of predictions, theories, insights, character breakdowns, and reviews when it came to telling you these stories about how much I loved your favorite Descendants of Zombies characters. Because when I tell you guys I loved them, I truly did love them. I saw how passionate you guys felt about these characters and how every single time you had the chance of sharing in their stories and their experiences, you took something special away from them. Because no matter who we were, we all took something special away from a character who may have been Red, who may have been Chloe, who may have been Mel, who might have been Evie. And I just wanted to share in that, and I wanted to become a part of the soundtrack of Descendants of Zombies after having lent my voice to a soundtrack that was very powerful, that touched the hearts of more people than ever given credit for. And I think if we actually sit back and put into perspective how much it's really touched the hearts of so many millions of people, we would realize just how powerful of a franchise this is on times. Because it's brought us that much closer together. It's given us a greater appreciation for each individual character's story, because it never really just focused on one story. If you could remember as far back as the original trilogy, it may have focused on the story of Mel and Ben and how they loved each other with all their hearts. But as the story became deeper, the story focused on individual characters who had their own stories to bring to life and just wanted their stories to be heard and seen by more people than perhaps ever before. And I had a chance of being a part of that, because if I was ever going to say anything at all in the way of review about Descendants of Zombies, I was going to be that one guy, that one personality, that one really nice voice that would be reassurance for people that there was going to be a future that had everything to do with our favorite stars, because there really is going to be one, and we have more of a reason to be excited, because what we are setting ourselves up for is the telling of beautiful stories, and we're going to be given the chance to be a part of something so special that we never imagined 20 years ago that we would ever have the chance to be a part of. I say this because, can you ever remember a franchise that came a part of our lives, that kind of came into our lives and had such of a significant impact on all of our hearts? It may have been Hannah Montana years ago for many people, because I remember how so many people had their hearts touched because of the music that Miley Cyrus sang as she brought that character to life. She had the opportunity to stand on stage night after night and have the chance to bring this character to life and tell her story, but I could never remember Hannah Montana having such a profound impact on so many millions of hearts quite like Descendants of Zombies has had. Because you guys have your entire rooms decorated with Descendants of Zombies posters. You haven't got to tell me, because I know, because I see it every day on YouTube, and I see it every day on social media through the photos you guys post. You are very passionate about it, and that deserves to be shown respect. That deserves to be credited. And I really wish other content creators, either he or she, would really put that into perspective and take this into consideration every single time before they ever push record. Because you guys have deserved to have these stories told in such a profound way, to leave an imprint and an impact on each and every one of your hearts, to undoubtedly change your lives for hopefully the better. Because Descendants of Zombies offered us not only just a beautiful story and beautiful music, it offered us so much incentive to pursue our dreams and our goals. Because a dream starts with a goal that all starts with your heart. Because a dream starts with a wish that only your heart can make. And I know that sounds very reminiscent and quite like Cinderella, but because Cinderella was always one of my favorite Disney princesses, we're going to get away with stealing a quote from her, and hopefully Disney will not hold that against me. But I always believe that Cinderella just had such this appreciation for life, like many of the Disney princesses, such as Rapunzel from Tangled, and of course Jasmine from Aladdin. They had such an appreciation for life, and that's what made them by far some of the most beautiful characters that I've ever had the honor to talk about. And their appreciation for their friendships with people like Raja and Abu and the Genie, and of course Rapunzel having a relationship with Pascal, which was very different, but that's what really made her personality stand out. This appreciation she had for not only her friends, but really for life. And then from out of nowhere, Ruby Rose Turner just kind of happens for no particular reason and really steals my heart for her appreciation for life and her desire to want to play characters such as Rapunzel. So I'm left here wondering why Ruby hasn't been given more of a chance and had the chance to play these characters, because you give these honors to people that people have really never heard tell of, because Tegan Croft is somebody who is relatively new, trying to make a name for herself in the industry, and then you have people like Ruby Rose Turner who have forever been passionate about putting smiles on your faces and touching your heart. And if I was a director and writer behind a project like Tangled, I would definitely give Ruby Rose Turner the opportunity to bring this character to life, because I've seen the passion in her heart that comes with that. I've seen the passion from Kylie Control wanting to be in these Marvel movies. And take it from a guy who's been a fan of Marvel movies ever since Sony acquired the rights for Marvel movies back in 1999 when the first movie became Spider-Man and Iron Man. But Spider-Man became a profound success because about Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst brought the story of Spider-Man for the first time ever to life in a true live-action franchise that went on to become a very successful trilogy by 2007. You know, I remember going to see Spider-Man and sitting down with my Spider-Man popcorn bag and my Spider-Man drink, my large-sized drink and my large popcorn, sitting in the front row and being absolutely captivated. I was really upset the week prior because I had to go see The Scorpion King, Hakuma Shante, and had to shut out my chances of seeing Spider-Man. I thought my life was over because the show had previously been sold out on opening weekend, but I went back the following weekend, and I had the time of my life because I saw Spider-Man come to life for the first time ever. I had nothing against Dwayne Johnson and the whole Hakuma Shante thing, although I never really understood what Hakuma Shante meant, or had nothing against Dwayne Johnson. I just always was a superhero fan and wanted to see Tobey Maguire bring Spider-Man to life for what would have been the first time ever. And then you take a look at Zendaya 20 years later, playing Mary Jane Watson in her own version of her story. And you take a look at how appreciative people are like Kylie Contrell who never get these opportunities. And people like Zendaya are always handed these opportunities. I think if we give more of a chance to more people that we don't really know that much about, they can allow their stars to shine brighter than perhaps ever before, and they can really make the most of these opportunities because I have wanted to see something so special for Kylie Contrell for what's felt like forever. And I think that because of the love and support she's had from her family, and not only her family, but her friends and her fans, who are some of her greatest friends of all time, that's what makes this so special for me. You know, seeing people like Kylie Contrell and Ruby Rose Turner really have the chance to evolve and really grow into becoming their own person and representing themselves for who they are, which is ultimately stronger people than we perhaps ever realized, because I've seen them really morph. And I know that sounds a lot like Power Rangers, go Power Rangers kind of thing, but you guys are going to have to forgive me because I was a huge fan of the Power Rangers. And if there was one guy who used to sit in front of his TV watching Fox Kids every Saturday to watch the latest episode of the Power Rangers to find out who the supervillain was or what Lord Zed or Rita Repulsa or Goldar had planned for the Power Rangers, because I thought that everything I saw on TV, including Power Rangers, was real, along with Disney and Nickelodeon. When Nickelodeon came up with the concept of a giant sponge living in Bikini Bottom under the sea, and was friends with a starfish who just wanted to be friends with everybody. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. On May 1st, 1999, undoubtedly my life changed forever. So too did it when Bluey premiered. And I understood how Meg Donnelly felt about shows like SpongeBob and Bluey because I took away a greater appreciation for how those shows made her feel, and I took away a greater appreciation for who she was as a person, because they are really incredible. How they share stories with you guys about how they can't get enough of watching SpongeBob SquarePants and Bluey really allows me to reflect back on my childhood when I used to sit down at probably 12 years old and watch SpongeBob SquarePants and think it was the coolest thing ever because of how resilient SpongeBob SquarePants was and how he just wanted to be friends with everybody. And I know Disney perceives these stars, these Disney girls, as perfect individuals who have these flawless images, but underneath all of that skin, there is somebody who really has their heart affected by how people feel about them. These cruel comments that are posted all the time about Kylie Control on social media, which are absolutely uncalled for, completely unnecessary. I've read every single one of them. I remember a recent post that I read about Kylie Control, and all these rumors were stemming from her relationship with Malachi Barton, and how she had turned down the opportunity to be a part of Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour because of her relationship with Malachi coming to an end, because of all these rumors that stem from his relationship and friendship with Freya Sky and what happened, obviously, with Malia Baker. We all know about it. And the thing is, you know, I couldn't help but feel really bad for Kylie, and I had a soft place in my heart for Kylie because I wanted Kylie to know that she had done nothing wrong, and how people had felt about her was never any reflection on who Kylie Control was as a person. Because through and through, Kylie Control is a beautiful person. So too is Malia Baker. And I've never wanted to judge them. I've never wanted to come off as a person who felt this way about a certain star without ever giving them much of a chance. Because I remember years ago when I'd go on PerezHilton.com and I'd see all these critical reviews being uploaded to PerezHilton.com about people like Hilary Duff. and Britney Spears. I remember when Britney Spears was going through a bit of a divorce with Kevin Federline, and of course Kevin Federline was involved with the WWE at the time, trying to make a little bit extra money, trying to make a name for himself because he had that song America's Most Hated. And I remember how Perez Hilton just never wanted to give Britney Spears much of a chance. He never really backed off of her, and I was the one person, even though Kevin Federline felt very differently, I was the one person who always had Britney Spears' back in the situation. I was always that one person who believed in Hillary Duff with all of his heart because I always saw something special in them because I had the chance of growing up as a millennial. So as a result of growing up as a millennial, I saw some of your favorites like Hillary Duff, Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus grow up under a considerable amount of pressure. And I had a soft place in my heart for every single one of them because if I was going to be one guy who was going to be a part of these conversations and have these conversations with thousands of people, it was going to have to be something I said on my part. Because I wanted to be one of these reviewers and one of these columnists, one of these journalists that actually understood his audience and always took away a greater appreciation for who his audience was and how they felt. Because I always wanted to touch your heart. In some way or somehow, I always wanted to touch your heart and come through with the best videos that could ever be created or ever uploaded. You know, people like Perez Hilton and TMZ often love to shoot on people like Britney Spears and Jessica Simpson without ever giving them much of a chance. And I was the biggest Jessica Simpson fan that was ever seen in the world. I had Jessica Simpson posters all over my room. I loved her music. I remember the debut of her first ever album. It was called Sweet Kisses. And I remember promoting it because my radio show, my first ever radio show, premiered in August of 1999, the same year that Jessica Simpson and Mandy Moore had their first ever albums. And I can remember, I will never forget it, how excited they were when their albums hit the shelves, hit music stores. Because years ago, you would have to line up for hours just to get your hands on that one compilation, that one single that was the hottest thing ever heard on the radio. I remember when the Backstreet Boys had their first ever album, their first ever song was called Get Down. And they were doing a lot of performances around Canada and the United States trying to promote it. They were doing crossover opportunities, and they were really coming into their own as the most popular boy band. Little did they know they would go on to garner the reputation of the greatest boy band of all time. They're still performing in 2025, 2026. They've got a full year of performances, but there's nothing like, you know, seeing these stars in their prime trying to make names for themselves, really evolving and really coming into their own. And I had the chance to see some of the greatest of all time do that. So perhaps that's why I have a greater appreciation for what it took to make a name for yourself in the industry, and even more now, because it's even more difficult to leave a name for yourself and an impression behind everything that you create or have the chance to ever be a part of. I think that being the voice of Rapunzel was a tremendous opportunity for Mandy Moore to really seize, and man, did she ever. She was so excited. And I remember when Jodie Benson became the voice of the Ariel character in The Little Mermaid for the first time ever back in 1989. She was so proud of it. And I think it really stems from how much she believed in that character, because her own kids now are having the chance to be a part of on-stage productions such as The Little Mermaid and still feel as passionate about it. And that's what's so appreciative about life, are these moments that you get to share with so many wonderful people. You know, yesterday I went to EB Games and I saw an Ariel keyboard cover, and I seriously thought about buying it. I'm probably going to go back there today and buy the Ariel keyboard cover. So it's a cover that goes over your keyboard, your system, and I thought it was so cool. You guys are really going to end up thinking that this is the sweetest YouTube channel that was ever created for every fan of Descendants of Zombies. That is my goal, to instill in your minds that this is the greatest YouTube channel ever created for every fan of Descendants of Zombies, for how relatable the content is. Because if there was a shirt of Bluey at Walmart, I bought that shirt of Bluey, and I was so proud to wear it. If there was a shirt of SpongeBob SquarePants, I was the first guy in the line at Walmart to buy it. If there was a new video game for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5 over the last 30 years, I was the first one to get it. And I sacrificed everything to get it. You know, oftentimes I went to these game stores at midnight for midnight releases, and I bought them, and I've been so proud to come home and talk about them and review them and show them to you guys. Which is why I'm really excited with the rumors of the Descendants of Zombies finding their way into Fortnite, because if Descendants of Zombies finds their way into Fortnite, it's going to explode in popularity, and Fortnite is going to go on to become so revered. Not to say that it hasn't become revered, but you think about Red, Chloe, Bridget, probably Mal, Evie finding their way into Fortnite, it's going to create a lot of opportunities. A lot of special events are going to be held by Disney, and of course Disney has this Disney Fortnite expansion offering us more Disney characters than ever before, so I think it would be really cool and very fitting, very appropriate if Descendants of Zombies characters found their way into Fortnite. I was the biggest Fortnite fan ever, so, you know, when it came to sitting down talking about video games, TV shows, and movies, I loved every single moment of it, and I felt more than honored to be a part of this and sharing this with so many wonderful people. Because from the first moment I ever heard that song, Life is Sweeter When You Are, it really was a bubblegum type song that almost instantly got stuck in my head. And I never ever forgot how the appreciation of someone who shows kindness to you every day should never ever be taken for granted, and just how much further kindness really takes a person in this lifetime. I think that there are far more kinder people out there in this world than we ever see or ever admit to seeing in our life, because I think that even the smallest acts of kindness go further. Just yesterday, I was at the game store and there was this guy working there. He was in a wheelchair, but he had the sweetest personality ever. He was always coming over to me asking me, what game I was looking for. I was just looking through the games. I had no particular game in mind that I was going to buy. But I thought to myself, this guy is showing so much appreciation for everybody that comes in here. I'm going to have to buy a game just to go over and talk to him so he can, have the chance to talk to me. I can have the chance to get to know him. And he was the sweetest person ever. And I think that the people who show the kindness that they show are never given enough credit. And the one thing that I've often appreciated about Descendants of Zombies is that the fan niche is incredibly supportive of who and what they love. Just because you're a guy who sits down and creates videos about Descendants of Zombies every day for the rest of your life, they will hit the subscribe button because they love you. They don't care who you are. They don't care what your situation is, what you may be going through. They just want you to create videos for them so they can watch their videos, think you're the coolest guy ever. I know because I've experienced this. And I've experienced this every time I've ever uploaded video about Descendants of Zombies. There are people out there who sacrifice life and limb to watch Descendants of Zombies, who cross overseas, who climb mountains just to be a part of this. I've seen so many people make so many great deal of sacrifices to be a part of the Worlds Collide Tour who were still shut out, who still should have had a chance to see it. But don't worry, as Descendants of Zombies continues to grow in popularity and rarity, you will have more chances to be a part of this and experience something so special, because I promise you guys, no matter who comes in and out of these franchises, you will always have me to help you make sense of everything going on around you when it comes to the power of Descendants of Zombies, which is truly emphatic and nothing short of phenomenal, because I had the chance to experience this, and I've loved every single moment that I've ever pushed record. I may never know what I'm about to say, but I love every single time that I ever push record, because it gives me a chance to put your video out there in an art gallery for everybody to walk through. And once they walk through your art gallery, it no longer is your art. The thing is, you've got to realize, once you put your art out there about Descendants of Zombies, no matter what the topic is or the conversation revolves around, it becomes the art of every fan of Descendants of Zombies who truly has a greater appreciation for you as the content creator, and they walk through your art gallery. And the response they give to you is entirely up to them, because it is their art, and they love it so much. And I know that there are far more people out there who have come to love these videos and truly appreciate this YouTube channel for the funny stories, the emotional moments that we have shared in together, and that we will never ever forget. Because these moments I had the chance to create with each and every one of you were truly special. Moments that I know that will forever and always hold a very special place in my heart. And you guys showed me the honor of becoming a part of something so special. Because I believed in these franchises just as much as each and every one of you did. I believed in something special being seen in the friendships between Kylie, Malia, and Ruby, despite all the rumors. I know all the rumors and conversation has really made us think differently about Descendants of Zombies, or at least tried to. But the thing that really shines through and shuts out all this criticism is how you guys believe in Descendants of Zombies and these stars with all of your heart. You've never cared what a critic has to say. You probably cared about what Jonathan Clarke has to say, because Jonathan Clarke has the coolest Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel ever created. At least hope that somebody thinks that, because I've loved creating Descendants of Zombies videos for you guys, and the one hope I've always had is that this is your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel, right? And you are forever going to hit my subscribe button. You are forever going to hit my like button, because you love this YouTube channel with all of your heart. The thing is, guys, I can create as many Descendants of Zombies videos as I want, or that I would love to create, but it's all up to you how you respond to these videos. It's up to you watching that 20-minute long video. And I know 20 minutes is a really long time. Probably a lot of you are saying, hey, Jonathan Clarke, every single time you upload a video, you talk about Descendants of Zombies for 20 minutes. Do you even know or realize that I don't got 20 minutes? I just got home from school. I got homework to do. I got an assignment that's due tomorrow. I got places to be, people to fall in love with. Well, if you give me time, I promise you, in that 20-minute video, if you watch it from beginning to end, I will give you a greater appreciation for Descendants of Zombies. If that's the last thing I ever do, It's going to be to give you a greater appreciation for Descendants of Zombies. Because I have felt more than honored to have been a part of these conversations and to have had these conversations front and center with thousands of people who love Descendants of Zombies, and people like Kylie, and Fred, Malia, and Ruby. Those names have been embedded in my head for the last 3 years at least, if not the better part of 10 years. Because this decade has been a decade that I will never ever forget. A decade, undoubtedly and undeniably, I had the chance of sharing in and experiencing with each and every one of you, because we had the chance to be a part of history, and we are really marveling in that, finding time and appreciating it. And each time we tell this story, the key is to always tell it differently. Because every single time you tell this story differently, you have a chance of touching somebody's heart out there who loves Descendants of Zombies with every bit of their heart and soul. Thank you so much for all the love and support you have shown this YouTube channel. Don't forget to smash my like button and hit my subscribe button. I know everybody says that, but Jonathan Clarke has left the building, and I will come back with another video in about an hour or so for you guys to have this conversation once again with me about Descendants of Zombies, because this has become everybody's favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time. Thank you so much for having made this your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, and thank you, as always and forever, for having watched this video.